Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Splinter Cell Blacklist, a third-person stealth action game from Tom Clancy and Ubisoft. With me are my partners in crime, Impressions. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right.
And Synyster Dreamer. How you doing?
Yeah, doing peachy.
All right. So since this is a franchise, I want to hurry and get everybody's previous experience out of the way with Splinter Cell. So I have only really played the first two Splinter Cells. That is it. I liked the first one, and so I did like both of them. I thought they were both fairly fun, but I never really got into this series as heavily as I did like Metal Gear Solid or something like that.
Oh, you're way old school with that, huh?
Yeah, I stopped at the second one just because I didn't play my Xbox a whole lot, and they were originally only on the Xbox. They were never really on PlayStation 2.
Yep.
Sinister, you?
So there's been quite a few then, right?
Yeah, there's like 7 in total.
Jeez.
Which, by saying 7, that tells you that I've played every single one of them. So I've gone through this whole franchise with the Splinter Cell series.
Okay, impressions?
This would be my very first Splinter Cell. I never had an Xbox, so I wouldn't have been. Excuse me. I wouldn't have been able to play them before, anyways. And I never. I mean, I was always interested in the premise, and it always looks like a pretty good game, but they kind of revamp every single time. But I never bothered. This is my first foray into the franchise.
Okay, so the story of Blacklist is you play as Sam Fisher, like usual, and there's a terrorist organization called the Engineers that are systematically attacking U.S. bases and U.S. stuff, threatening, to keep doing this until all of the U.S. troops are pulled back from every foreign country. Otherwise, they will keep attacking and doing their thing, and it's up to Sam Fisher to, do his thing and sneak and find information and figure out how to stop them before it's too late. On the whole, the story is, it was okay. There's a couple of points that were kind of cheesy and very unrealistic, but for a Splinter Cell game, it was okay. Impressions?
I mean, I don't really mind some of the cheesiness at times, so I thought it was actually a pretty, very Tom Clancy. If you've ever read any of his books, I can see it. His voice is very much present in the game. Or in the story rather. So, if anything, that's a good way to look at it. It's a Tom Clancy story brought to life in a video game, which I mean, it seems a little redundant for me to say that, but that's exactly what it is.
All right, Sinister.
Overall, I actually did enjoy this this story for this game because honestly, well, the more unrealistic story that I was like, and I started losing interest was back in Double Agent. But this story actually kept my interest, and I've been trying to get back to playing and finishing it to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so let's get into the gameplay. So, like I said, this is a stealth-oriented game. The goal is to, not be seen and take out people as quietly as possible. The stealth mechanics in this game work, I thought, really well. I like the cover system and how you can run cover to cover really quickly, and how you have the light on the back to tell you if if you're hidden well and stuff like that. So I thought all of at least the stealth aspects in this game worked. They all worked really well. Sinister.
For being a stealth espionage style game, yeah, it worked really well, especially with the cover system because the fact that you press one button, you're up against the cover. You're okay. You target where you want to go, and you basically do a kind of a side crawl slide to your next position. And honestly, it felt very fluid and smooth, in my opinion.
Impressions.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Seeing it as this is the seventh, and without me having known that, regardless, it does feel like and knowing that now, it does seem like a very refined system. I can tell that. I think I'd be correct in assuming earlier installments of the game did not work this smoothly. Would that be right? Hello.
Yeah, there was hit and misses where it was like, okay, cover, trying to cover,
Yeah.
and enemy sees you, and you're like, rawr.
Yeah, and especially for a game that markets the stealth aspect as a primary, mechanic, and the cover system, etc. there are games that implement a system like this where it really isn't necessary. Like off the top of my head, the Star Trek game, there was this stealth element and a cover system in there that really felt out of place with that game. Whereas in this system, it very much is suited for the story, very much is suited for the playstyle that you would expect based on it. So I think it worked very well. It was a very, if you're in the mood for a stealth game, it's definitely one to go for.
Okay. The next thing is gadgets and upgrading suit upgrades and all that good stuff. So as you do missions and side missions, you get money to use to upgrade your suit and guns and little toys to, sneak around better. And in terms of that system, I did like all the little gadgets and toys you got. I thought those were all kind of fun. Upgrading the suit, it was kind of cool to see the different outfits you could get and make and kind of customize, if you wanted to play this game more as, the guy that's taking out everybody silently or just, run and gun for the most part, although that didn't work out in some missions. But I thought the upgrade system worked. I thought it worked well. I liked also upgrading the base and kind of all the other stuff to make, missions a little easier. Synyster.
Yeah, the overall upgrade system is very much taken from their other game series, Rainbow Six. But yeah, it's like the whole upgrade system was kind of nice to have. So you weren't just, oh, here's the gear that you're given, go do the mission. No, you can figure out, do I want, this kind of pistol with this kind of a secondary weapon and this specialty weapon, and then what little gadgets to throw around. It worked really, really well to fit, basically fit people's play style.
Impressions.
And yeah, I definitely agree. It makes it, there's a purpose to each one. It makes your life easier. You can also have fun with it in order to try out different methods of accomplishing different missions. But not having played the previous ones, I'm not sure what is new. But they all work out very well in this installment, I would say.
Okay. The only other real new gameplay mechanic is what they called the killing in motion. I don't know if I didn't really get to mess with it a whole lot, but you basically highlight targets and you can take them out really quickly in succession while kind of on a more of a run pace. I did it once or twice, and it was kind of fun. Synyster.
The killing emotion kind of actually been around for a while. It's just a highlight, how many targets you want, and when you get the, execute button, you can just, when you're close enough range, just pop and boom, 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 up to 3 targets are dead. But otherwise, it's very smooth, fluent system. It was the only difficulty kind of with it is, making sure you're getting close enough that you can use it without being spotted.
Impressions?
Yeah, the thing that really comes to mind with it was Fallout 3's VAT system, where you essentially freeze time and you can shoot them. You target things and then you unfreeze time and you end up firing everything. It reminds me a lot about that, except where you do it all in real time, like you said earlier. You just mark your targets and you automatically kill all the ones that were highlighted by you quite instantly. It was if anything, it made it a little easy, in my opinion. So that was, but at the same time, it gave it the opportunity to be a little more stylish. Yeah, and sometimes stylish is good. This is one of those times.
Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is multiplayer. Spies vs. Mercs is back.
Yes.
I didn't really notice any major changes to Spies vs. Mercs. It's still kind of fun. I still kind of had I enjoyed it.
Same old system, just upgraded graphics and gear.
Yep, so if you like Spies vs. Mercs in the previous ones, still good.
And sorry.
No, go on. You first.
Just to add one little quick thing for game mechanics is I think it's a new system, but I don't remember in Conviction. But at the end of every mission, you have a 3-tier point system that you go into.
Oh, right. Yeah, so the better you do, the better points you get.
Yeah, honestly, for my opinion, it's nice to see how well you do in certain trees, but otherwise, I didn't really pay attention to that mechanic.
Yeah, neither did I.
Well, up the tier system. I thought that was a little out of place for a stealth game, but whatever. At least there's a way to evaluate how well you did. But, okay.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope.
Nothing for me as well. So
All right. So with that, we'll go into our rating. So here at Rule of 3, we don't use a point number system because I don't like doing numbers. And so we use a buy, rent, pass system. A buy means think it's worth the full price of the game, whatever the developer wants on release. The game's fun enough and has enough replayability or is just enjoyable enough that, it deserves you to buy the game at, whatever they wanted, at whatever the starting price point is. The second rating is a rent, which is twofold. The obvious one, the game's okay, it's fun, but probably should rent it from like Blockbuster, GameFly, or Redbox, whatever you have near you that has it. Or wait for it to go down in price or on sale for like half off or buy a used copy. It's not quite to that full price, but it's worth a look if it looks interesting to you. And a pass means that the game needs to stay hidden in the shadows and never be seen. Ever. So, Synyster, why don't we start with you since you've played all of them?
I give this game a buy. Honestly, I had some doubts to it, but when they announced back when they were announcing the game and whatnot, I was like, okay, this actually could be a good game. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. It's become one of the top games for the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell series I like.
All right, impressions?
yeah, I would give it a buy as well. I mean, admittedly, I personally would not buy it, but as far as the evaluation of the game quality is concerned, it's a very solid game. Very reminiscent to me personally of Metal Gear Solid, except obviously with a couple, enhancements with regard to the cover system, the automated aim fire, and some of the executions. So it's kind of a. I don't mean this in a negative way, but kind of like Metal Gear on autopilot during sometimes, and it's a little more cinematic, but definitely a very fun, very solid game that I think is worth buying if you're interested in this. If you're into this genre.
Right, and I actually give it a rent. Honestly, I'm just gonna get into it as much as I, get into like Metal Gear Solid. It does play very well, but I don't know. There's something about Splinter Cell I just never could get into, and this one didn't really change my mind on it. So I have to unfortunately give it a rent. So there you have it, 2 buys and a rent. So that's it for this week. Next week we will be looking at what is the next game on the list? Do you guys remember?
Lost Planet 3?
Lost Planet 3, that's right. I just got that in the mail. That's right. So be looking forward to that next week. We have a couple of side reviews also that I'm working on that should be out by the end of the weekend, hopefully. But make sure to subscribe to our channel to get all the latest updates. Leave comments below for our next giveaway, which I haven't decided what it is yet. I'll know by Monday. Or actually Saturday, probably. I'll know soon. But I'll make sure I post that when that's done. But also, like us on Facebook and Twitter. Check out rule3.com for links to, articles that we write and the older reviews and all that fun stuff on there. So thanks, guys, for joining me today, and thanks for listening, everybody. And always remember to trust in the rule of 3.